Hi dear students, today I am going to deliver the lecture on MCQs on cement and aggregate that are very important for all type of competitive examinations such as MPSC, UPSC and all different types of engineering recruitment examinations. So let us start the lecture. At what temperature argillaceous and calcareous materials are burnt to form cement? Very simple, it is 1300 to 1500 degrees Celsius. One must know these all things. Okay. The second, the water cement ratio affects which property of a concrete? That is compressive strength or workability or durability. If water cement ratio increases, compressive strength decreases. If water cement ratio increases, workability increases and durability decreases if increases. All of the above is the correct answer. What does the OPC stands for in the cement? What is OPC? That is ordinary Portland cement. The B is the most appropriate answer. Then which concrete mix is highest workability? 124, 136, 112 or 148? The 124. Some people may go for 1:2, but 124 is the most appropriate answer. What is the main component responsible for early strength of concrete? That is C3S, that is tricalcium silicate is the correct answer. The option A is the correct answer. Initial setting time of cement shall not less than 30 minutes. Final setting time of cement shall not be greater than 10 hours. So one must know 30 minutes and 10 hours. Then cement is manufactured by burning argillaceous and calcareous materials. So both A and B is the correct answer. Then the maximum percentage of chemical ingredient of cement is that? The maximum percent of chemical ingredient of cement is the lime. Lime is the major factor, L. Then efflorescence in cement is caused due to alkalis. Efflorescence is due to alkalis. That is very important. Rapid hardening cement contain high percentage of C3S, that is calcium tricalcium silicate. After 3 months manufacturing of cement, strength is reduced by 15%. So cement can be used as early as possible. The cement having strength of 53 MPa or 53 Newton per mm square after 28 days when tested, then it is called as a 53 grade of cement. That is the strength of cement after 28 days, strength of cement mortar cube. Minimum fineness of rapid hardness cement is 3 to 50 centimeter square plus oblique gram. One must know all these values. The gray color of OPC is due to iron oxide. Gray color due to iron oxide. Then production process of white cement require dash percentage of higher energy than OPC. 40% higher energy than ordinary Portland cement. Cement stacking should be 300 mm away from the wall or 30 centimeter away from the wall. That is important. Which of the following is not a constituent of cement? Lime, silica, sulfur. Alumina is also content of cement. Carbon is not a constituent of cement. The process of hardening of cement when mixed with water is called as a hydration. It is important. The fineness of cement is usually measured by specific gravity, particle size distribution, surface area per unit weight or compressive strength. The correct answer is surface area per unit weight. The heat of hydration is highest in the heat of hydration is caused due to C3S early strength, but C3A is the major constituent in which the heat of hydration is highest. What is the percentage of gypsum added to the clinker during cement manufacturing? Percentage of gypsum is 2 to 4%. Which of the following test is used to check the soundness of cement? That is Leach-Atelier apparatus. Not a Vickers apparatus is used for initial and final setting time. UTM is used for compressive strength. and compaction factor apparatus is used for workability. Which of the following apparatus is used to check the compressive strength of cement? That is UTM is the correct answer. Which of the following test determines the fineness of cement? That is air permeability test, because Vickers apparatus is used for initial and final setting time. Leach-Atelier is used for soundness. What is the standard consistency test of cement used for? To determine the water content required for cement to reach the standard consistency, that is the standard consistency test of the cement. Then which apparatus is used for determining the setting time of cement? That is Vickers apparatus. What is the primary purpose of the compressive strength of cement? To assess the cement's ability to resist the compressive force. That is important. To resist the compressive force means compressive strength. Then which of the following is the primary purpose of aggregate in the concrete? Which of the following is the primary? To provide the bulk, to provide the volume, that is important. Which type of aggregate is commonly used in concrete for building foundation? That is coarse aggregate. Which test is used to assess the toughness and resistance of the aggregate to impact? That is impact test. Which of the following is considered a deleterious material in the aggregate? The clay is the deleterious material. Which type of aggregate particle shape is best for workability of concrete? A rounded aggregate is best for workability. Which test is used to measure wear resistance of the aggregate? Abrasion means wear resistance. So for wear resistance, abrasion test is used. For impact means sudden application of load, impact test is used. Crushing means compressive strength, and soundness test is used to measure the soundness. According to size of aggregate are classified into two categories. One is the fine aggregate and second is the coarse aggregate. The aggregate having size more than 4.75 mm is known as a coarse aggregate. The fineness modulus of fine cement, a fine sand, is in between 2.2 to 2.6. Fine sand, the fineness modulus FM is 2.2 to 2.6. For finding crushing value of aggregate passing through dash sieve and written on sieve is taken. That is for crushing value 12.5 mm च्या sieve मधनं जाणारा आणि 10 mm च्या sieve वर रिटेन होणारा सॅम्पल वापरायचं. For finding crushing value of aggregate under compression testing machine, total load of 40 tons is applied. One must remember this 40 ton. In impact test, 15 number of blows are given to the layer of aggregate. Impact test. In abrasion value test, rotate the machine at the speed of 30 to 33 rpm, that is revolution per minute. One must know the rpm, 30 to 33. Fine aggregate should not absorb more than 5% of water. If aggregate impact value is more than 35%, the aggregate is weak for road surfacing because the impact value is more. For finding out the silt content, jar is kept in undisturbed condition for at least 3 hours. Silt content साठी jar 3 hours साठी undisturbed condition मध्ये ठेवायचा असतो. Silt mean very fine particles of size less than 75 micron, that is silt. If the aggregate shows the total absence of a particular range of sizes, then aggregate is termed as a gap graded aggregate. If the sizes of all particles are almost the same, the aggregate is termed as a poorly graded, means there is only one grade, so it is poorly graded. Which aggregate property affects the workability of concrete the most? Shape and size affects the workability more. Which of the following is considered a coarse aggregate? Gravel, crushed stone, or silt? Silt is a fine aggregate, so both A and B is the correct answer. And which aggregate property affects the workability of concrete is the most? If there is a water cement ratio, that is the most, but here there is no water cement ratio and the shape and size plays the vital role. Okay. Which of the following is not a property measured for aggregate? That is the flexibility, because toughness, moisture content and soundness is measured for aggregates. So it is enough for this lecture, and you must go all go through all these types of MCQs for preparing the competitive type of examinations. So best of luck for your further exams, and please keep watching my lectures. Thanking you, and bye bye.